The stars were quiet that night, the way they always were for Caliph. He sat alone in the small observation room of his outpost, a hidden station floating far beyond the last human colony. The walls glowed with soft blue light from screens that showed thousands of worlds at once. Caliph belonged to the Vorath, an old race that lived long lives and preferred silence over noise. They watched the galaxy, but rarely touched it. Contact was dangerous. Young species were too wild, too quick to fight or break. Caliph had watched many species come and go. Some built great cities among the stars, then vanished in fire. Others learned peace and faded into quiet corners of space. He recorded their stories in calm, careful words. That was his work. That was his purpose. Then he found the humans. They were new, very new. Their home world, a small blue-green planet called Earth, sat in a quiet arm of the galaxy. Only a few hundred years earlier they had still used animals to pull their carts. Now their ships crossed the void between stars. Caliph first noticed them when their metal probes reached Mars and sent back pictures of red dust and old volcanoes. He marked the date in his log. A small step, nothing more. But the steps kept coming. Humans built domed cities on the moon. They drilled deep into icy moons around Jupiter and pulled water from the dark. They sent slow ships toward distant stars, ships that would take generations to arrive. Caliph watched their broadcasts. The voices were loud, full of hope and argument. They laughed, they cried, they argued about everything. Yet they kept moving forward. He gave them names in his private notes, simple names from their own language. Daniel appeared often in the early reports, a calm man with gray hair who spoke on the big orbital station called Unity. He led talks about sharing space with other species. Laura stood beside him, always writing notes, always asking hard questions. She had short brown hair and sharp eyes that missed nothing. Caliph liked watching them. They were strange. They built things too fast. Their machines broke often, but they fixed them in new ways no one expected. Other species followed strict plans for centuries. Humans changed plans every few months. Caliph wrote, "They treat rules like suggestions." Years passed. The humans reached farther. Their ships grew stronger. They learned to fold space in small jumps. Not perfect, but good enough. New colonies appeared on rocky worlds and gas giant moons. They named them simple names: New Hope, Green Valley, Dawn's Edge. Then the Concord noticed. The Concord of Eternal Harmony was old, very old. A group of 12 powerful species that had ruled large parts of the galaxy for thousands of years. They liked order. They liked control. They drew lines on star maps and called them borders. No one crossed those lines without permission. The humans did not know about the lines. One day a human mining ship found a rich asteroid belt. The ship sent drones to claim it. The drones planted small flags made of metal and plastic. The humans cheered on their screens. They posted pictures across their networks. "Our new home," they said. The Concord sent a message. It came in clear, polite words through every human receiver. The message said the asteroid belt belonged to the Concord's buffer zone. Humans must leave at once. No weapons were mentioned, no threats, just calm words and a deadline. Caliph watched the humans react. On Unity Station, Daniel called a meeting. Leaders from Earth, Mars, and the outer colonies joined by video. They talked for 3 days. Some wanted to leave quietly. Others wanted to stay. Laura spoke last. She showed maps. She showed sensor data. The belt was empty. No Concord ships, no bases, no signals. Just rocks. "We asked for proof," she said. "They gave none." Daniel nodded. He spoke to the Concord in the same calm tone they used. "We respect your claim. Please show us your records. We will wait." The Concord did not answer with records. They answered with silence. Then came the blockade. Concord warships appeared around 3 human colonies. Not many ships, but large ones. Their hulls were smooth and white. Energy shields glowed like pale moons. The warships blocked trade routes. Food shipments stopped. Fuel shipments stopped. Power plants on the colonies began to fail, one by one. On Earth, people stood in lines for bread. On Mars, lights dimmed in the underground cities. Children asked why the stars had turned dark. Caliph expected the humans to surrender. Most young species did. The Concord had never lost a dispute like this. They only needed to wait. But the humans did not wait. In hidden labs on Titan, Christopher worked without sleep. He was tall and thin, with black hair that fell into his eyes. He built small devices that could punch through energy shields. The first tests failed. Metal melted, circuits burned. Christopher wrote new code, changed the materials, tried again. Megan sat at the next table. She studied Concord ship movements. She drew lines on holographic maps. She found patterns. The big ships moved slowly. They depended on perfect timing. If the timing broke, the ships became clumsy. She smiled the first time she saw the pattern. They are strong, she said, but they are predictable. Caliph wrote in his log, they are not afraid. They are angry. But the anger is cold. Months passed. The blockade grew tighter. Some human voices called for peace at any cost. Others called for action. Daniel listened to both sides. He did not promise victory. He only said, we will not leave our homes. Then came the first raid. A small group of human ships left the safety of their systems. They moved quiet and dark, engines cold until the last moment. Kevin led them. He was young, with a quiet voice and steady hands. His ship carried no flags, only weapons. They slipped past the Concord picket line. They found a supply station hidden in an asteroid field. The station held fuel, food, spare parts. The Concord thought it safe. The humans struck fast. Explosions lit the dark. Concord drones tried to fight back. Human ships danced around them. They used tricks, fake signals, clouds of metal scrap to confuse sensors. One human ship drew fire, while others took what they needed. They left before the Concord could send help. Caliph watched the whole thing from his screens. The raid took 11 minutes. The humans lost one small fighter. The Concord lost a full supply depot. News spread across human channels. People cheered in streets and tunnels. They shared pictures of burning Concord storage tanks. They sang old songs about freedom. The Concord sent a new message. This time the words were harder. Further aggression will bring consequences. Laura read the message aloud on Unity. She looked at Daniel. They still think we will back down. Daniel answered softly. Then they do not know us yet. Caliph closed his log for the day. He stared at the screens. The human worlds glowed like small fires against the black. The Concord ships waited in perfect formation. He felt something new in his chest. Not fear, not yet, but something close. He added one last line to his notes. They are beginning to move, and they do not look back. I saw humans advance into war, and understood why the cosmos fears their name. The blockade had lasted almost 2 years. Human colonies felt the cold every day. Lights stayed dim. Food came in small portions. Children learned to count calories before they learned to read. Yet no one talked of surrender. Instead, they talked of work. They talked of fixing things. They talked of tomorrow. Caliph watched from his outpost. The screens showed the same quiet anger growing across human space. He saw factories restart on worlds that should have been dead. He saw people move faster, think sharper. The Vorath elders sent messages asking him to pull back. Too much contact with warlike species could stain the mind. Caliph stayed. He told himself it was for the record. Deep down, he wanted to see what happened next. On Titan, Christopher worked in a cold underground lab. The air smelled of metal and burnt wires. He had not seen sunlight in months. His team built small weapons that could hurt big ships. The first railgun prototypes exploded on the test range. Shrapnel cut the walls. Christopher wiped blood from his face and said, "Again." They rebuilt. They changed the coils. They added cooling systems made from scavenged parts. The next test fired clean. A metal slug punched through 3 layers of test armor. The sound echoed like thunder in the tunnels. Megan worked 1 level above. Her room had no windows, only screens full of ship tracks. She studied every Concorde move. Their fleets moved in perfect lines. They waited for orders from Central Command. They never changed course without approval. Megan saw the weakness. "They fight like machines," she said to her team. "We fight like people." She planned the next raid. Not on a depot this time, on a listening post. The post sat on a dead moon in neutral space. It watched human communications. If they took it, the Concorde would lose eyes. Megan drew the plan on a cracked tablet. 3 ships, fast approach, hit hard, leave faster. Kevin would lead again. He listened without speaking much. When she finished, he only nodded. The raid happened at dawn on the colony calendar, human time. The 3 ships dropped out of jump close to the moon. Engines hot, weapons ready. Concorde drones woke up slow. Kevin's voice came over the comms. "All ships, engage." Lasers flashed. Missiles followed. The listening post shields flickered. Human boarding teams moved in zero gravity. They cut through hulls with plasma torches. Inside, they found alien technicians frozen in fear. The humans did not kill them. They tied them up. They took data cores. They planted charges. Then they left. The post burned behind them, bright against the black moon. Caliph recorded the loss from every angle. The Concorde reaction was slow. First confusion, then anger. Their High Council met. They voted to raise the stakes. Bigger ships. They started targeted strikes. 1 colony dome cracked open. Air rushed out. People died in seconds. The Concorde broadcast the images to every human channel. This is what happens when you resist harmony. Humans watched the footage in silence. Then they went back to work. Ashley flew her first real combat mission 3 days later. She was 22. Short blonde hair, quick hands. Her fighter was old, patched many times. The cockpit smelled of oil and sweat. She launched from a hidden carrier in the asteroid belt. Her squadron had 8 ships. Their target was a Concorde supply convoy. 6 fat freighters guarded by 2 cruisers. The plan was simple. Draw the cruisers away. Hit the freighters, run. Ashley's voice cracked the first time she spoke on open channel. "This is Hawk 1, moving to intercept." She pushed the throttle. The fighter jumped forward. Stars blurred. She felt the G-forces press her into the seat. Big guns tracked. She rolled left. A beam missed by meters. Heat warnings flashed. She laughed once, short and sharp. "Missed me." Her squadron split. Half drew fire. Half slipped behind the convoy. Ashley led the strike group. They came in low across the freighters. Point defense guns tried to track them. Too slow. Ashley fired missiles. Explosions bloomed along the hulls. Fuel tanks ruptured. 1 freighter broke in half. The others tried to run. Too late. The cruisers turned back. Too late for that too. Ashley pulled up hard. Her fighter shook. Alarms screamed. She whispered to the machine, "Come on, girl. Just a little more." The carrier caught her on the return. She landed rough. The deck crew cheered. She climbed out shaking. Someone handed her water. She drank. Then she looked at the mission report. 4 freighters destroyed. 2 damaged. Human losses. 1 fighter. The pilot did not make it back. Then she went to the ready room and started planning the next flight. Word of the raid spread. Humans shared it in secret channels. They posted grainy video. They wrote messages under fake names. We hit them. We can hit them again. Factories on Earth doubled shifts. Engineers on Mars built new engines from old designs. Scientists on Luna tuned weapons to match alien frequencies. Every failure taught something new. Caliph watched the change. Human ships looked different now. Patches covered old hulls. Extra guns stuck out at odd angles. Shields glowed uneven colors. They should have been weak. Instead, they were strong in ways the Concorde did not expect. A human cruiser took a direct hit from a Concorde beam. The shield cracked. The ship should have died. It did not. It fired back. The shot found a weak point in the enemy hull. The Concorde ship listed. The human ship limped away. Caliph wrote, "They break rules of physics with hope and anger." The Concorde answered with force. They sent a battle group to New Hope Colony, 10 heavy cruisers, support ships. They demanded surrender. The colony governor refused. The Concorde opened fire. Orbital strikes burned cities. Domes shattered. People ran into tunnels. Many did not make it. Survivors hid. They built small ships from wreckage. They sent messages to other colonies. We are still here. We are still fighting. Megan received one of those messages. She read it aloud in the command room. Her voice stayed steady. They want us to stop. We will not stop. She planned a counterstrike. Not big, not loud. Small teams, sneak in, sabotage engines on Concorde ships. Leave before they knew what happened. Kevin took the lead team. They used civilian transports painted black. No markings, no signals. They drifted close to the enemy anchorage. Spacesuits, magnetic boots, cutting tools. They planted charges on engine nacelles. Time to blow when the ships tried to jump. The explosions came during a Concorde drill. 3 cruisers lost power. 2 more limped. The rest scrambled. Too late. Human raiders were already gone. Caliph saw the Concorde command panic for the first time. Orders changed every hour. Ships moved without pattern. Fear crept into their perfect lines. On Unity Station, Daniel and Laura met in a quiet room. The lights were low. Daniel looked tired. Lines on his face deeper than before. Laura still took notes. She never stopped. "We cannot win by defense alone," she said. Daniel nodded. "Then we changed the game." They sent orders to every fleet. Stop hiding. Start hunting. Build more ships. Train more pilots. Learn every weakness in Concorde weapons. Use it. Ashley flew again the next week. This time she led her own squadron. They found a Concorde scout ship alone. They circled it. They demanded surrender. The alien captain refused. Ashley gave the order. Her fighters opened fire. The scout burned quick. No survivors. She felt nothing at first. Then she felt the weight. She flew home in silence. Caliph closed his log. The human fires burned brighter now. The Concorde fleets looked heavier, but slower. Something had shifted. He wrote one line before he slept. They are no longer afraid of the dark. They are bringing the dark to others. I saw humans advance into war, and understood why the cosmos fears their name. The war no longer stayed at the edges. It moved inward. Concorde fleets pushed deeper into human space. Their ships filled the sky above colony worlds. White hulls blocked the sun. Energy beams cut through domes like knives through paper. Entire cities vanished in bright flashes. Smoke rose from cracked planets. The galaxy watched in silence. Caliph's screens showed the destruction in sharp detail. He saw families run into tunnels. He saw children carried on shoulders. He saw old people refuse to leave their homes. Many died. The Concorde called it necessary correction. Humans called it murder. Yet the humans did not break. On the ruined world of Green Valley, Nicole walked through ash. She had been a medic once. Now she led what remained. Her coat was torn. Her hands were black with soot. She found survivors in caves. She gave them water from cracked bottles. She spoke in a low voice. We rebuild. We fight. We live. They listened. They followed. Under the surface, people dug new tunnels. They turned old mining machines into factories. They melted scrap into armor plates. They wired broken drones into new weapons. Nicole stood over a workbench. A young engineer showed her a small bomb. It used alien power cells, but had human wiring. Messy, strange, stronger than the original. She nodded. Make more. Word spread through hidden channels. Humans on other worlds heard. They copied the idea. Wreckage became ships. Dead engines came back to life. Factories grew in darkness. Every loss taught something new. Caliph wrote, "They eat their own pain and grow teeth from it." The Concorde sent their largest force yet, a fleet of 30 heavy cruisers, support carriers, drones in the thousands. They aimed for Epsilon Vale, a system with 3 human outposts. The Concorde leaders believed one big push would end it. They would crush the heart of human resistance. Then the rest would kneel. Human scouts saw them coming. Brandon received the alert on his flagship, a rebuilt carrier called Endurance. He was older now, gray in his beard, eyes hard as stone. He studied the hologram. Red dots for enemy ships, blue for his own. The numbers were bad, very bad. He called his officers. Megan stood at his side. Christopher joined by video from a hidden yard. Kevin waited in the hangar bay. Ashley sat in her cockpit, ready. Brandon spoke slowly. We do not run. We meet them here. We use everything we have learned. Megan pointed to weak points on the map. Their shields have a harmonic gap. Every 7 seconds, Christopher's lance can hit it. Christopher nodded. We tuned the weapons. Short bursts, high power. It will burn through. Brandon looked at them all. Then we go in close. We swarm. We bleed them. The battle began at first light over the main planet. Concorde ships formed a wall. Perfect lines. Guns ready. Human ships came from 3 directions. Small groups. Fast. Uneven. They looked weak next to the enemy wall. The Concorde opened fire first. Beams crossed the void. 2 human frigates died in seconds. Explosions lit the dark. Debris spun outward. Ashley led her fighter wings straight at the nearest cruiser. Stay tight, she said over comms. Follow my lead. Her squadron rolled. Lasers chased them. 1 fighter took a hit. The pilot ejected. Ashley did not look back. She pushed forward. Missiles away. They struck the cruiser's flank. Shields flickered. Kevin's cruiser moved low across the enemy formation. He fired railguns in short bursts. Each shot found the harmonic gap. Metal buckled. Atmosphere leaked. The Concorde ship listed. Brandon watched from the bridge. All ships, press the attack. Do not stop. Human vessels danced through the enemy lines. They used asteroids for cover. They dropped mines behind them. Concorde ships hit the mines. Explosions tore hulls. Drones tried to chase. Human fighters cut them down. Christopher's new weapon fired from a hidden platform on the moon. A long lance of plasma. It struck the lead dreadnought. The shield collapsed in 1 hit. The lance burned deep. The dreadnought's core ruptured. Fire bloomed inside. The huge ship broke apart in slow motion. The Concorde line wavered. Their commanders shouted orders. Ships tried to regroup. Too late. Human forces pushed harder. Megan directed jumps. Small groups appeared behind enemy lines. They hit engines. They hit reactors. They vanished before return fire could lock. Ashley flew through the chaos. Her fighter shook from near misses. She targeted a carrier. Guns hot. She fired everything. The carrier's flight deck cracked. She pulled away as secondary explosions followed. Kevin boarded a drifting Concorde frigate. His team moved fast. They planted charges. They took data pads. They left before the ship blew. The battle lasted 9 hours. Concorde losses mounted. 10 cruisers gone. Carriers burning. Drones scattered like dead insects. Human losses were heavy too. 8 ships destroyed. Hundreds dead. But the fleet still flew. At the end, the remaining Concorde ships jumped away. They left wreckage behind. They left silence. Brandon stood on the bridge. Smoke hung in the air. He looked at the view screen. The stars were clear again. Megan came to his side. We won. He shook his head. We survived. That is different. News reached every human world. People in tunnels cheered. People on ships cried. They shared names of the lost. They promised to remember. Caliph watched the battle from every angle. He slowed the recordings. The way they turned weakness into traps. The way they ignored pain to keep moving. He felt something cold in his core. He wrote, "They do not fight to live. They fight to make sure the enemy never forgets." On Green Valley, Nicole heard the news. She sat with her people around a small fire. They passed a single bottle of water. She spoke quietly. One victory, many more to come. They nodded. They went back to work. In the Concorde capital, leaders met in a high tower. Their voices were low. Fear had entered the room. They had lost a flagship class. They had lost face. They ordered more ships built. They ordered stricter rules. They did not understand why the humans kept coming. Caliph closed one screen. He opened another. Human shipyards glowed in the dark. New hulls took shape. Engines tested. Weapons charged. The war had changed. Humans no longer only defended. They prepared to move forward. He added a final note to his log. The cosmos thought them small. Now the cosmos bleeds. The stars watched, and the humans kept advancing. I saw humans advance into war, and understood why the cosmos fears their name. The Concorde fleets pulled back after Epsilon Vale. Not far, just enough to lick their wounds and rebuild. Their shipyards worked day and night. New hulls rose in dry docks. Fresh crews trained in perfect rows. The leaders spoke of final victory. They still believed numbers and order would win. They did not see the change in their enemy. Humans did not wait. New shipyards appeared in hidden asteroid fields. Old mining rigs turned into assembly lines. Workers slept in shifts. Lights never went out. Engines tested in short bursts. Weapons fired on empty ranges. Every day more ships took shape. Not beautiful, not smooth, functional, ugly, deadly. Brandon stood on the bridge of endurance. The ship had new scars. Fresh paint covered old burns. He looked at the fleet list. Numbers climbed. Small carriers, fast cruisers, swarms of fighters. Enough to strike deep. Megan planned the first push. She chose a Concorde supply hub, 3 systems inside their border. It fed 20 fleets. If it fell, those fleets would starve. She marked the route on the hologram. Jumps through nebulae. Short stops in dead systems. No signals, no traces. Kevin would lead the spearhead. Ashley flew with the fighter screen. Christopher sent his latest upgrades. Phased lances now fired twice as fast. Shields adapted in real time. Human ships carried surprises the Concorde had never seen. Daniel and Laura worked from Unity. They sent messages to every colony. We go forward now, not to conquer, to end this. People listened. Volunteers filled the ranks. Factories doubled output. Families sent their sons and daughters with quiet words, "Come back." The push began at human midnight. Heaven's task force jumped blind, engines cold until the last second. They appeared close to the supply hub. Concord sensors woke late. Alarms screamed. Defenders scrambled. Human ships moved like wolves. Ashley's fighters struck first. They came low across the rings of a gas giant. Point defense guns tried to track. Too many targets, too fast. Missiles flew. Storage tanks bloomed into fireballs. Fuel lines snapped. The hub shook. Kevin's cruiser followed. Railguns hammered the main dock. Metal tore. Atmosphere vented in white clouds. Boarding teams launched. They wore black suits, no flags. They moved room to room. Concord guards fought hard. Humans fought harder. They took control decks. They locked down escape pods. They planted demolition charges. The hub burned for hours. When the last explosion faded, only wreckage remained. Concord reinforcements arrived too late. They found ashes and silence. News crossed human channels. Quiet cheers in tunnels. Tears in eyes. Pride in voices. The Concord answered with rage. They sent hunter groups, fast ships, heavy guns. Orders to destroy anything human on sight. No prisoners, no mercy. Humans met them head-on. In the dust clouds of a nameless system, Ashley's squadron faced 3 Concord interceptors. The enemy ships were sleek, fast, weapons hot. Ashley rolled her fighter, split and flank. Her wing broke apart. Lasers crossed. One human fighter took a direct hit. It spun away dark. Ashley pushed forward. She locked on, fired. The lead interceptor cracked open. The others turned to run. Too slow. Her missiles caught them. Fireballs lit the dust. She circled the wrecks once. Then she flew home. On a captured Concord world, Nicole's resistance grew. They no longer hid. They moved at night. They struck depots. They freed prisoners. They turned alien weapons against their makers. Nicole stood on a hill. Wind carried smoke. She looked at her people. "We take back what is ours." They nodded. They loaded rifles. They moved on. Brandon coordinated from endurance. He rarely slept. He studied maps. He listened to reports. He gave orders in calm voice. "Hit here. Pull back there. Strike again." His fleet danced across borders. They appeared. They struck. They vanished. Concord worlds felt fear for the first time. Cities dimmed lights at night. Patrols doubled. Leaders spoke less of harmony, more of survival. Daniel sent one final message to the Concord Council. Simple words, broadcast on open channels. "Stop now, or we will not stop." The Council refused. Human forces pushed deeper. They took a shipyard, then a refueling station, then a command outpost. Each victory came with cost. Ships lost, lives gone, names added to long lists. Yet the advance continued. Christopher worked in a forward yard. His hands shook from lack of sleep. He tested a new device, a disruptor field. It scrambled alien shields for seconds. Enough time for lances to strike. He watched the test. A captured Concord frigate, lost power. Its hull opened like a flower. He turned away, ready for fleet use. Megan plotted the next target, the Concord border fortress at Kale System. Strong walls, heavy guns, a symbol of their power. If it fell, the path to their core worlds opened. She met with Brandon in the dim ready room. "We can take it, but we will lose many." He looked at her. "We lose more if we wait." They planned for weeks. Every detail, every jump, every roll. The assault came under a double moon. Human ships dropped from hyperspace in waves. First fighters, then cruisers, then the heavy hitters. Concord guns opened fire. Beams crossed the void. Shields flared, ships died, endurance took hits, hull breached, fires burned on decks. Brandon stayed on the bridge. Keep pushing. Ashley flew through the firestorm. Her fighter weaved between beams. She targeted gun emplacements. Explosions followed her path. Kevin led boarding teams onto the outer walls. They cut through armor. They fought in corridors. Blood on metal. Shouts in the dark. Christopher's disruptor fired from a support ship. The fortress shields collapsed in sections. Human lances struck true. Towers fell. Reactors overloaded. The fortress cracked. Concord defenders fought to the last. They died standing. Humans took the command center. They raised no flag. They only shut down the guns. When silence came, the fortress belonged to them. Brandon walked the empty halls. His boots echoed. He looked at the stars through cracked viewports. One more step. Back on Earth, people watched grainy feeds. They saw human ships above alien worlds. They saw fires. They saw hope. Caliph watched every move. His outpost felt smaller now. The galaxy felt smaller. Humans moved like a tide, slow at first, then unstoppable. He saw no hate in their advance, only purpose. They struck military targets. They spared cities when they could. They took prisoners and treated them with food and water. A contrast to the Concord's earlier glassings. Other species noticed. Whispers spread. Neutral worlds closed borders. Ancient races turned off sensors. Fear grew quiet and deep. Caliph added to his log. His hand trembled slightly. They do not destroy for joy. They destroy to make the killing stop. And in that cold will, they become something the stars have never seen. The advance continued. System by system. World by world. The Concord lines bent, then broke. The end drew near, and the cosmos began to understand the name it feared. I saw humans advance into war, and understood why the cosmos fears their name. The final battle came above the Concord capital world. Its name was Etheris Prime, a beautiful planet once. Blue oceans, white cities that floated on anti-gravity platforms. Tall towers of crystal that caught the sun. Now the skies were dark with ships. Human ships. Thousands of them. Not perfect lines. Not shining white. Rough hulls. Patched armor. Weapons that glowed with new colors. They filled the space like a storm cloud. Caliph watched from his outpost. Every stream showed the same view. The Concord home fleet waited in orbit. Their last stand. 300 heavy cruisers, super dreadnoughts, orbital forts. The Council had pulled everything back. No more borders to defend. Only this one world left to protect. Brandon's flagship Endurance led the human formation. He stood on the bridge. Gray beard, tired eyes, steady hands. All ships, hold position. We wait for their move. Megan stood beside him. Her maps glowed. Red dots for Concord, blue for humans. The numbers were even now. Years of building, years of loss, years of learning. It showed. Daniel's voice came over the fleet-wide channel, calm, clear. This is Daniel from Unity. We send one last offer. Stand down, power off weapons. Let us talk. No more blood needs to fall today. Silence answered. Then the Concord opened fire. Beams crossed the void. Shields flared bright. Human ships shook. Some burned, but most held. Brandon gave the order. Engage. The human fleet moved forward, not in one wave, in layers. Fighters first, then cruisers, then the heavies. They came fast. They came together. Ashley flew at the front of her wing. Her fighter was patched so many times, it looked like a quilt. She rolled through the first barrage. Stay on me, she called. Her squadron followed. They wove between beams. They fired missiles at point-blank range. Concord shields cracked. Hulls opened. Fire bloomed. Kevin led the boarding assault on the nearest super dreadnought. His team launched in small pods. They hit the hull hard. Magnetic clamps locked. Cutting torches burned. They moved inside, dark corridors, red emergency lights. Alien soldiers waited. Fighting was close, hand to hand, blood on walls. Kevin pushed forward. Deck by deck, we take the bridge. Christopher watched from a support ship far back. His screens showed shield readings. He spoke into the comms. Disruptor fields active. Lances ready. Fire on my mark. The new weapons hummed. A wave of energy rolled out. Concord shields flickered. For 3 heartbeats they were naked. Human lances struck. Beams punched through armor. Reactors failed. Ships died one by one. The battle stretched across hours. Space lit with flashes. Debris spun in slow circles. Voices filled the channels. Orders, warnings. Names called out. Some answered. Some did not. On Etheris Prime below, the council watched from high towers. Their faces were pale. Their voices low. They had ruled for centuries. They had never lost. Now they saw the end come closer with every explosion. Human ships reached low orbit. They targeted military bases only. Gun emplacements, shield generators, command centers. Cities stayed dark but untouched. No glassing. No fire from the sky on homes. Nicole led ground teams on captured worlds nearby. Her people moved fast. They took Concord outposts. They freed slaves from other species. They gave food, water, words of hope. The war ends soon, she told them. Help us finish it. Back in orbit, Endurance took heavy fire. Hull breaches, fires on lower decks. Brandon refused to pull back. We finish this here. Megan directed the final push. All wings, converge on the flagship. The council ship, take it intact if you can. Ashley's fighters cleared a path. Kevin's team reached the bridge of the dreadnought they boarded. The Concorde captain stood tall. He refused to surrender. Kevin looked at him. Your choice. The team secured the controls. They shut down weapons. They sent a signal. One down. One by one, Concorde ships went dark. Some surrendered. Some fought until the end. The super dreadnought at the center burned bright, then broke apart. The council ship floated alone now, surrounded. Daniel's voice came again. This is your last chance. Power down. Open channels. We will not ask again. A long pause. Then the council ship's weapons went cold. Lights dimmed. A signal came. We accept terms. Cheers rose on human ships. Quiet at first, then loud. Pilots hugged in cockpits. Crews embraced on bridges. Tears fell. Names of the lost were spoken like prayers. Brandon stood silent. He looked at the planet below. Cease fire. Begin relief operations. Teams landed. They brought food, medicine, engineers. They helped repair what war had broken. They did not loot. They did not punish. They worked beside the people they had fought. Daniel and Laura met the Concorde leaders face to face. In a quiet hall. No guards. No weapons. Words were spoken. Agreements signed. Borders redrawn. Trade opened. Old wounds left to heal slowly. Caliph watched the treaty signing. His outpost felt very far away. The screens showed humans and aliens standing together. Not as masters and servants. Not as enemies. As people who had fought and then stopped. He opened his final log. His voice was soft. Almost a whisper. I saw them start small. Curious. Loud. Fragile. I saw others push them. Threaten them. Hurt them. I saw them answer with fire. With steel. With minds that never stopped thinking. They lost much. They gave much. Yet they never lost themselves. They did not seek this war. War found them. And when it did, they changed. They grew fast. They grew strong. They grew kind in victory where others would have grown cruel. I watched them advance into war, step by step, loss by loss, victory by victory. And now I understand. The cosmos fears their name not because they destroy. It fears them because when pushed to the edge, They become more than any species should be. Inventive, relentless, forgiving when they could hate, unbreakable when they could break. They are human, and that is enough. He closed the log, he powered down the main array. The screens went dark, one by one. Outside his station, the stars stayed quiet. But now they carried a new weight. A name whispered in every language. Human. Caliph leaned back. He closed his eyes. For the first time in many centuries, he felt small. And the galaxy turned on, wiser, cautious,